Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. Today's video, I'm continuing my series on ranking or listing my top 100 favorite albums of all time. This time I am at number 30, so I'm getting to my top 30 favorite albums. At number 30, I have an album called The Swell Season by two duo, a guy named Glen Hansard and the woman named Marketa Irglova, and this came out in 2006. So stay tuned to see my thoughts here on Jason the Old Millennial. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well here on a Thursday afternoon. I'm doing pretty good here and continuing my series of talking about my 100 favorite albums of all time at the moment, as that's constantly changing all the time. So I made this list a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago. And so it's definitely different now, but I'm going over kind of each album and kind of talking about their significance to me and what they've done maybe chart-wise and all that, and why they're one of my favorite albums. So number 30, I have an album called The Swell Season. It is by Glen Hansard and Marketa Irglova, this guy-girl duo. It came out in 2006. If you don't know this album, it came out kind of right before this movie, Once, which I actually showed the other day on my physical media, and that's Glen Hansard and Marketa Irglova there, the two stars of the movie. As I've shown before, there he is playing guitar. Really great movie. Absolutely love the music here. If you know Glen Hansard, they're not like household names. I learned about him because of this movie came out, and I remember seeing a clip of them singing, and I thought, man, they sound really good together. I want to go to this movie. I was lucky enough, there was like a showing at one of the theaters in Wichita, and I went and saw it and was really loved the movie, and especially music, man. I really wanted to, at the time, get it on iTunes and listen to it. And that's where I kind of discovered this kind of duo. Glen Hansard, he is from Ireland. He got his name in a band, I think, called The Frames, if I remember right. It's an Irish rock band, which is a band that never made it big here in America. So I don't know if it made it big in European countries. Fairly well known, I suppose, because they've been around for a while. But he formed that when he was pretty young. And I know they've gone touring probably all over the place. Anyway, so he did that. He met Marketa Irglova, actually. She's from the Czech Republic. She's actually like 15 years younger than Glen. But she was a piano player and singer when she was young, very young, in the Czech Republic. And he kind of got introduced to her when he was touring in the Czech Republic. And he kind of met her when she was, probably a teenager or something like that. And he even had her play on stage with the band when he was in probably Prague or something in the Czech Republic. Anyway, so that's when he met her actually quite a while ago, and kind of knew her a little bit and knew her family. Anyways, part of the member of the band, the who directed this movie, John Carney, who's gone on to do things like Sing Street and Sing Again, or some other movies I've seen of his. Sing Street's pretty popular as well. All kind of these movies about people enjoying music and playing and all that. And John Carney was part of the band, but he wanted to go off and be a movie director, and so he left the band to go. And this is the first movie that he kind of wrote and directed, John Carney, and he wrote it for the purpose of putting Glen Hansard in there, who's the lead singer of the band and guitar player. And even though Glen Hansard's never acted in the movie, I guess he saw something in him and really thought he'd be great for this lead role. Because the lead character is also from Ireland, and the movie takes place in Ireland as well. And they're trying to find a girl to take the other role. And Glen kind of said, hey, I know this girl from Czech Republic that would fit well. I think she'd be really good in this role. And she's a great singer and piano player and all that. And so they asked her, and she's never acted in a movie either. And so they got her to get on as well. And so first movie for both of them. And so they rewrote that character for her as somebody from the Czech Republic that's living in Ireland. Anyways, and so they made this movie together. Glen and Marketa wrote the music for the movie, basically. and it's an absolutely amazing soundtrack. I didn't count once the one soundtrack into my 100 favorite albums because I didn't want to put soundtracks into this. I just wanted studio albums basically. But if I had this in here, this would be like a top 10 album. The music is absolutely amazing in this movie. It's mostly all their songs. There's like one song that's from another band that's also in the movie that's really good, but it's pretty much all of them. But at this time, they also came out with an album called the Swell season at the same time. And I think this album came out like right before the movie. The album has 10 songs. Most of them are in the movie as well, but not all of them. There's definitely some other big ones that aren't on this album. And some of the songs on the album are actually different takes than the movie because I listen to this album and I go, that sounds a little different than I remember the movie. So it must have been they must have recorded those songs just for that album, separate from what they recorded for that movie once. But it does have some it has their biggest song on here, and a couple of really great songs that are in the movie as well. And there's some good stuff that's not in the movie here. Anyway, so this is a great like first studio album for this duo, and I absolutely love this duo. It's one of those great revelations when I first discovered these two, and I was like, this is absolutely amazing singing. I never heard of either artist, of course. And they just gel so well together. It's really an acoustic piano album for the most part. It's mostly, like I said, more folk music, maybe some folk rock type songs. I would almost call it like indie folk type music, almost modern folk. I don't know what you want to call it, but a lot of it, I love that kind of music. Anyway, it's my favorite kind of music, so it hits me right where I love music. I love a good acoustic guitar and piano. And their two voices gel well together. Glen Hansard has one of the greatest voices I've ever heard. I mean, when I first heard him sing, I was like, this is unreal, the way he can sing. Yeah, not only, I mean, he hits these high notes that are just, I'm like, I didn't know those notes even existed. And he hits them, and you're like, those are amazing high notes for a guy to hit. And not that he hits them all the time, but when he goes into the high register, it's like, wow. And he has this amazing way of singing with just amazing passion. He can start a song very soft and it sounds great, and then by the end he just picks up the speed on that guitar, and it's like, wow, he's just playing acoustic guitar, but man, he sounds so amazing. Like it sounds like a couple different guitars playing, and he's just really jamming on that acoustic guitar. You're like, wow, he's going fast on it. And then he starts almost singing. It's like this mixture of screaming and singing. It's like he's singing, but it's in pitch, and it just sounds amazing. And you're just like, wow, he's really going all out on this song, and like it's getting loud and more intense, and it's like getting me going, and in a good way, and just kind of emotional. He just brings out the emotionals of the song so well. I mean, I absolutely love what he's doing on this album. And then Marketa as well, singing along with him just sounds so good. I feel like Glen takes most of the lead singing on this album. Marketa has one like big song at the very end, actually very last song, Alone Apart. Really good song that she sings as well. She doesn't sing as many though by herself. It's some of it's just Glen by himself. Sometimes it's them two together. All sounds so great. It could have been just a Glen Hansard like album, in my opinion. But yeah, absolutely amazing. The big song on here is Falling Slowly, of course, which was in the movie once. It ended up winning the Oscar for Best Original Song for the movie once that they wrote for this movie. Chart-wise, it was number 61 in the US, number 8 in Canada, number 2 in Ireland, which obviously, like I said, Glen's from Ireland, so it did well in his home country. Also got a Grammy nomination for Best Song Written for the Screen for that song Falling Slowly. Yeah, Falling Slowly, one of my favorite songs of all time. Absolutely amazing. You have to listen to Falling Slowly if you haven't heard it yet. I mean, so it's so great with the acoustic guitar and the piano, and yeah, and I'll talk about it here in a second, but absolutely amazing here anyway. So yeah, if you like a good duo, acoustic guitar, kind of folk type, folk pop, folk rock kind of music, this is the perfect album for you. Yeah, so I'll get to my top 3 favorite songs on here, and it's so hard because there's so many great, like all the songs are just so good. The only thing I don't care for is like the Swell season is just an instrumental, which is like, okay, but I'm not into like just instrumentals usually. I like when they sing as well. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Lies, which is also in the movie. Really great sequence of the movie, in fact. And I would say just amazing vocals by Glen, and Marketa comes in, and very passionate scene, like I said, and song about, your significant other, kind of a breakup, maybe broken up, because, and he says, you're always telling lies, 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 tearing me apart or something like that. So definitely a song about, some bitterness over the relationship, and that they were a liar or whatever, and that's why he broke up with him. Great sequence in the movie too, because he deals with his own ex-girlfriend in the movie, and there's like videos of that. But anyways, I put that at number 3. Again, so many great songs on here. Number 2, I put Leave. Leave, maybe underrated song on here. It's just Glen Hansard and acoustic guitar, and it starts off very soft. Another song about leaving somebody. Definitely has a lot of that in this, I guess, album, when I think about it. But yeah, and he starts off soft, and then as it goes, it just picks up the crescendoing, gets louder, and by the time he gets to the end, he's just really strumming that acoustic guitar really hard and fast, and he's just hitting really high, I mean, just going full blast in his voice, and it's almost like he's getting angry as the song's going, and he's telling her, just leave, and just listening to it, just like, man, emotionally, you're just like, wow, that's emotionally hits you really hard. Not like crying or anything, but just like, wow, he has so much emotion in his voice. It just really gets to you. Anyway, so yeah, great song, Leave. Then number 1 has to be Falling Slowly. I already talked about it. Favorite song, one of my favorite songs of all time. It starts with the piano and the acoustic guitar, just picking at it, and just amazing melody. And it starts with Glen, and Glen sings kind of low for the verses. The verses sound absolutely amazing. And it kind of goes into the chorus, and then there's even some like orchestra pickup, and it kind of picks up to the chorus, and that chorus is just absolutely amazing. And Glen hits these incredible high. I mean, like, you got Glen and you got Marketa, but Glen's the one hitting the high notes on Marketa. Marketa is kind of hitting kind of more of the lower notes, or she's more of like an alto singer, I think, and he's can sing tenor. He doesn't always sing tenor. He sings kind of in the middle, but then he can go hit these crazy notes that you're just like, oh man, that is like the greatest note I've ever heard. And so I absolutely love the song because of that, because Glen just, when they get to that chorus and hits those high notes, man, it's like that's what music's about. That's why I listen to music, to hear some great singing like that. But yeah, and I'm not sure I can't say it's a song that's like super deep, but it's an interesting song lyrically as well. Seems to be an uplifting song, and Marketa has even talked about at the Oscars it being kind of a song to uplift people, anyways, and be a song to help someone if you're down and all that. So I think there's a good message behind it as well. But yeah, you have to listen to that song. I mean, like I said, Oscar-winning song. Definitely their biggest song of all time that they've done. If there's one song they're known for, it's for Falling Slowly. So yeah, definitely check that out, and definitely check this album out, the Swell season. I don't have it at the moment. Definitely one I need to get in the future. Unfortunately, they only made 2 albums, and I got both of them in my top 100, and this is the low one at number 30. I got one that's even higher. Their second album I like even more, and have it quite a bit higher. Just to tell you how great this group is and how much I like them, and I wish they made more albums together. It's unfortunate they kind of broke up at the second album and went their own ways and did their own solo stuff. But yeah, absolutely amazing work. I mean, definitely check out the movie once if you haven't seen it, and check out that soundtrack if you haven't heard it. Just amazing work by these two. So yeah, number 30, the Swell season by Glen Hansard and Marketa Irglova. And that ends my video, so thank you for watching this. Please feel free to comment if you've heard this album, if you know this group. I'd love to hear from you. I love to read the comments, and just thank you for watching. Thank you for liking the video, and thank you all to my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all, and hope you have a good day.